Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Dow Academy Online Learning. We look forward to seeing you all back in class. But for now, stay home, stay safe. And remember to always wash your hands with soap for at least 20 seconds. Let's begin.
Good morning, boys and girls. It's time for cultural studies. Last topic in the last lesson, we discussed about the organizations. We discussed about the organizations that work for peace. In these organizations, we discussed that these are Kotla, churches, Botswana Police Force, United Nations, Red Cross Society, Southern African Development Countries, and Botswana Defense Force. Boys and girls, today we are having a new topic. Our new topic today is conflict. When we talk about conflict, we talk about disagreement. A conflict is a disagreement between two people or more. Conflict is when you don't agree on certain issues with your friend or with a group of people. Conflict can happen between the following: children, it can happen between parents, it can also happen between friends. Okay, boys and girls. How can it happen between the following that I've mentioned? Children may be given instructions to follow, and then they may refuse to follow these instructions. Therefore, it may bring conflicts between either the parents or the teachers. Parents at home, when they don't agree on certain things. Remember, we said conflict is a disagreement between two or more people. Parents, when they disagree on certain things at home, it can also bring a conflict at home. Friends. We all have friends, and we like our friends very much. Sometimes our friends will come up with something, then when we don't agree to what our friends are telling us, this can bring conflict between you and your friend. Why? Because you disagree. There is a misunderstanding between you and your friend. Therefore, it can lead to a conflict. I'm going to give you a few examples of conflict. There are some examples of conflict: insulting or fighting, shouting at each other, refusing to share school things, parents fighting and quarreling, poor communication, not allowed to play with a good friends. These are examples of conflict. Let me explain one by one. Insulting or fighting your friend. We all don't want to be insulted, or we don't want to fight. We need peace. If you have a friend who is insulting and fighting you, it will bring conflict between the two of you. That's why it is an example of a conflict. Shouting at each other. There's no one who would want to be shouted at. We all need a peace of mind. We all need to be happy. If you are with a person and that person is always shouting at you, this will bring conflict between the two of you. Refusing to share school things. In our classes at school, boys and girls, there are some school things that we use in class and at school. In class, I can give an example. It can be books, it can be rubbers, pencils. When the teacher gives you rubbers, books and pencils to share, you start to refuse with your friend using a rubber or a book to read. This will bring conflict, boys and girls. Parents fighting and quarreling at home. When the parents fight and quarrel at home, it can also bring a conflict. Like I said, we all need a peace of mind. We all need to be happy. Poor communication. Poor communication, like we said, if someone is insulting you, when you don't communicate to your friend properly, insulting, fighting, shouting, that is poor communication. Using bad language, it's poor communication. This one, it can bring a conflict. Disagreeing about some things, it can lead to conflict. If you don't agree on one thing, it can lead to conflict. When you are not allowed to play with a good friends, we have good friends and bad friends. When you are not allowed to play with a good friend, this can bring a conflict, boys and girls. Boys and girls, this is the end of our lesson. Remember, we said a conflict is when you disagree on certain issues. It's either one party or more, or a group of people disagree on certain things. It is a conflict. And remember, boys and girls, we have talked about examples of conflict. We said it's insulting, shouting at each other, refusing to share things, parents fighting and quarreling, poor communication, and when you are not allowed to play with good friends. These are the examples of conflict. We also talked about the conflict can happen between children, parents, and the friends. Boys and girls, this is the end of our today's lesson. I'll see you again in the next lesson.